Very cool.
Thank you.
So, how are you feeling? We've been shooting a music video all day here in this is your hometown, Buffalo, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, born and raised. Actually, from Lackawanna, I have Steeltown roots with my dad and Niagara Falls with my mom. So, third generation immigrants, Eastern European and Italian.
How did you decide to be a blues guitarist?
Well, at the time that I started, it was during the shredder, kind of just on the edge of post Van Halen. Mm-hmm. So you had guys like Yngwie and Paul Gilbert, and you had Billy Sheehan, who's right here from Buffalo, just killing it on the bass. So I had a lot of that as the inspiration. And my friend Dougie took me to see, he was my best friend in high school. He took me to see B.B. King at Kleinhand's Music Hall here, which is a beautiful, all wood auditorium, and they do a lot of classical and stuff. I saw that. I saw B.B. King, not dressed up, not with his hair spray painted, in a nice suit, standing in one place the whole night with the audience in the palm of his hand before he even played the first note. So that kind of power of the blues really overtook me, and I really got into that deep from there.
Oh, here's a deep cut. When I worked for the Republican National Committee, I'm emptying my closet here, I worked for Lee Atwater, and I saw Lee Atwater and B.B. King play together in Washington, D.C. They were like pals for a while.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like B.B. ever got political.
No, it wasn't political. It was just music.
Yeah.
But we met doing Tea Party stuff, and we were trying to figure out earlier when exactly that was, but I remember for sure us getting a chance to talk on an April 15th rally that we held in front of the Washington Monument.
It was awesome.
It was such a cool scene.
It's like 50,000 people there.
Yeah, it was a huge crowd, and you got to meet your hero that night.
I sure did. Ron Paul, man, the rock star of the whole thing. I mean, I wasn't so, I was more into the message that Ron Paul was bringing, more than anything. When I heard he was going to be there, I wanted to be there, and it looked like Michael Beck helped make that happen.
Yeah, our friend Michael Beck, who was, I think he's the one that introduced you to me, and that night was pretty cool. But was it the 2008 Ron Paul campaign that sort of got you sort of philosophically minded? Were you paying attention before that? I'm
not sure what was my actual illuminating moment with him. I think it had a lot to do with just transparency at the Federal Reserve and that whole effort, that grassroots effort. I think it was S604, that bill. And he just made so much sense, and he's so earnest and just seems like an honest, sensible guy. And it's so lacking in politics that, I don't know, I guess people like us just automatically, it resonates with us.
Yeah, and he's been on this show, and we talked about lockdowns. It was quite a while ago, but he understood from day one that a lot of the things that the government was doing was actually destructive if you care about people's health and safety, and certainly their wealth. And you're living in this bluest of blue states.
Yes.
Your governor is King Cuomo.
Wrote a song about it. Like to hear it? Here it goes.
And we definitely want to hear that song. But what's it like? I mean, you make your living playing in front of live audiences.
Yeah, I do that, and I'm also a radio host on an NPR affiliate here in Buffalo called WBFO. And thankfully, they kept me on the air all through 2020 and beyond. Right now, every Sunday from 7 to midnight and on 88.7 here. Outside of that, I mean, I've had some songs that have been placed, and some royalties trickle from that. Guitar lessons, sometimes by Skype, which is really going better than I expected. I'm teaching some people in other states, and it's just, I thought it wasn't going to be as good in the organic experience like you and I have, but we're able to bridge that gap, although, the millisecond delay kind of makes it harder to play together in real time.
Now, you had started making a new album before the lockdown started, right?
Yeah. Around December, just before 2020, we were poised to play the second biggest ball drop in the country, which is right here in Buffalo, New York, called Buffalo Ball Drop. And just before that, I'm in regular touch with Tom Hambridge, who's from Buffalo. He went on to win. He's a 3-time Grammy winner. He's Buddy Guy's principal songwriter and opening act and drummer, and also has worked with Skinner and ZZ Top, and he's the go-to guy for Joe Bonamassa and all the. He's pretty much the go-to producer for blues and blues rock for the last bunch of years. So I was in contact with him. I said, "Hey Tom, how's it going?" He was inviting me to play at the Sportsman's Tavern here in Buffalo, and he said, "If you could come sit in with me and do some playing, that'd be great." And I said, "Well, I'm going to be in Florida with my parents, so I'm still blessed to have my parents with me." And I went and did that, but I said to him, "I've got some new material that I think would be right up your alley." And I was thinking about the songs from Plug In and Play, in particular the title track. And right away, he texted me right back. And this is a guy who's so busy that you shouldn't expect an instant response from him. And he shot me some dates, and we talked, and I made the decision to buy the shoes. And I went down to Nashville January 14th to do a writing session with him. We wrote a great song together called Tommy Guns with Richard Fleming, who's also a Grammy-winning writer. And then the next morning, that song was played for the first time and recorded in that studio called Soundstage, which has over 503 number one hits, from Johnny Cash to Buddy Guy.
That's amazing. And the plan was to finish that album, release it, and hit the road.
Right, pay it back.
Yeah, and then the COVID blues happened.
The COVID blues, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at it positively because we were able to take our time and get it even better than maybe it would have turned out. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Tom's able to just churn this stuff out at a ridiculous pace, and he still maintains world-class quality. So it still would have been, largely what it is, but I had produced a number of songs on my own as well with my band, Dave Herr, Tom Chimay, and David Hewlett on drums. And so we put all those songs together, but because they were in two different studios, it was like I wanted to make sure that they were going to be cohesive, not only stylistically, but sonically. So Tom and his team down there at Switchyard Studios, Michael St. Leon, they did all the mastering and the mixing ahead of time. So I had a lot of listening time to listen to the mixes and say, okay, we need to make some adjustments. If I needed to do an overdub, some percussion or a harmony part or a guitar lead or something, I was able to do it because I was by myself in a house in Hamburg, New York, and dealing with what everybody else was dealing with.
Locked down.
Yeah.
So we've both been outspoken critics, not just of Cuomo, but any governor that has locked down the economies. But as a musician, I mean that's your livelihood. But from a fan's point of view, which is what I am, I think about the important emotional lift I get from seeing live music. Like it's a form of therapy for me. I love going to live concerts. And any fan out there that really does that, they just went a year plus without getting that release. There's got to be damage.
Yeah, it is. It's very serious because it is medicine. It's medicinal, and I don't consider myself someone who's really done the work of going through law school or something like that. It's a different kind of more of a shamanic, if for lack of a better description, way of conjuring that release in people. But it stirs the emotions, brings joy. Maybe scientifically it's the endorphins or something, but it's a spiritual thing. And for that spiritual thing to have been denied, for religious freedom to have been denied, for freedom of speech to have been denied, we're talking about expression at large. I think a lot of people had a big problem and a struggle with it.
Supposedly, Cuomo is saying that New York is reopening, but I just read some of the fine print. And first of all, you guys already have Vaxports in New York, right? So there's vaccination passports. They're pushing that. And Cuomo has said for sporting events, and I assume the same thing is true for concerts, that there's actually going to be a vaccinated section, and non-vaccinated people like me, second-class citizens, we will be still required to have 6 feet distance between us. I don't know how that works.
That is the fine print. It's like, okay, we're going to allow you to open up 100%, but you still got to wear your mask and social distance. So in a small venue, you're not going to be able to have your 100% capacity. You're only going to be able to have as many people as you can draw a 6-foot circle around.
Yeah.
So it's that simple. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, would you call that doublespeak, political doublespeak, where they present themselves as giving you something that really is a God-given liberty and right, and then at the same time, when you check it, it's not at all.
It's very Orwellian, and I feel like if anything good comes out of this, hopefully people that are paying attention will realize that sometimes politicians lie to us.
Sometimes?
It's shocking.
They wouldn't do that.
Shocking. Play this tune. That's about the right time for this. What's this song called?
This song is called "Living in a Blue State," and it actually has become a self-fulfilled prophecy because I wrote it and recorded it. It's a good history. I wrote it and recorded it in a studio called California Road Studios in Orchard Park. And wouldn't you know it, when that gym owner who stood up for himself with all the other business people, like myself, that was where his gym is now. I recorded "Living in a Blue State" in that same studio where that viral video went out worldwide.
Wow.
And had millions of views. So that's kind of resonating for me. But it was actually inspired by Carl Palladino and Russ Thompson, because they headed up a grassroots effort to have a toll that was overcharging people for years removed on the 190. So it worked for about a year, and then after that, they just raised the price down the road by 50 to 100%. They doubled the price of what they were losing. So I called it "Living in a Blue State." And if you know this song at home, feel free to sing along. You put a red light on my job and a green light on my taxes. Then you gave yourself a raise left me with a severance package. They say the haves have way too much and the have-nots not enough, and all I'm seeing is red, 'cause I'm living in a blue state. How long can you keep on trying to put the squeeze on me? It's cold enough outside to try to put the freeze on me. Well, I have just one question, not out of the ordinary. How can you raise the tax on a toll that was supposed to be temporary? 'Cause I'm living in a blue state. Well, I'm living in a blue state. Now every morning when I wake up, all I think about is leaving. But if everybody left, we just leave it to the thieves and now I've just one question, not out of the ordinary, but how can you raise the tax on a toll that was supposed to be temporary? 'Cause I'm living in a blue state. Well, I'm living in a blue state. I'm living in a blue state.
Very cool. Will the governor want to use that for his reelection campaign?
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
Highly doubt it.
You probably wouldn't let him anyway.
No, I'd probably pull a Tom Petty or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's from Blizzard Blues, right?
Actually, it was from the one before that. It was called Sometimes.
Okay.
We recorded Sometimes in the place that is now Robbie De Niro's gym, Athletes Unlimited or Athletes Unleashed, where that video took place. And Blizzard of Blues came after that. And the new album is called Plug In and Play. And that's why I felt it would have been too contrarian to bring an acoustic and do that routine for you today. But we had a blast doing a music video for X-Ray Girl. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Your film crew is world class.
They're looking a little tired out there right now. Looking a little grumpy, but it was like 45 degrees, and actually it was snowing at one point this morning.
It was. And then within minutes of that, the sun was out.
Yeah.
That goes with the cliche that says if you don't like buffalo weather, just wait a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, I spent some of my childhood in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I was confused when I left that area because people weren't used to 2 feet of snow on a regular basis, but that's just normal around here, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're, I think, experiencing a real sense of community as a result of the climate around here. People help each other. we have to push each other out of ditches and help people who can't shovel their driveways or snow blow it. So that's why it is called the City of Good Neighbors here. I think that does foster a sense of community.
Yeah, there's a sense of localism that I definitely don't get in Washington, D.C.
Right. You would know.
Yeah. So this is the new album you're pretty optimistic about, and I'm going to give everybody a chance to find this album right as it comes out. But you've been a Billboard charting blues guitarist more than once?
At least once. I don't keep track of it all the time.
Yeah.
But I know that Blizzard of Blues debuted in the top 10. It was sandwiched between some Joe Bonamassa records, and Buddy Guy was on there, and I think Tedeschi Trucks and Johnny Winter.
So
too.
some pretty stiff competition.
Yeah, I was really happy with the accomplishment because I'm about as indie and DIY as it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, on this album, because of the circumstances with the virus, I took on more responsibilities than usual, with the exception of Tom doing the producing, mixing, and mastering with his team.
Yeah.
Designed the logo, was literally stuffing a one sheet and a CD into over 600 envelopes and having to ship those out, put 5 different labels on an international envelope and ship those out. A lot of in fact, all the website maintenance. So really, I guess I'm pretty well split, maybe between my creative and analytical side.
Yeah. So cranking that stuff out all by yourself. I see lockdowns were good for something, right?
They were. And it wasn't, even though it's my name on the package, there really is a lot of people to thank. My graphic artist, Tony Morrow, is amazing. He's the designer of movie posters for things like Pirates of the Caribbean and We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson. He's done all the Stephen King novels.
Yeah.
So I come to him with a concept, and I told him what I wanted the album art to look like. Maybe if they have a JPEG of that, I can people can see that.
Somebody bring me a copy of the CD so I can hold it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I come to him with a concept, and most of the time, he's so amazing. He'll come up with something that's better than what I had in mind.
Yeah, it's a little. Where's the camera? This one. It's a little. It's a frisky cover.
It is. Well,
True to the blues.
It's kind of got a little bit of that Vargas Girls vibe, but it's modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before, and we mentioned our friend Michael Beck, and about a decade ago, maybe 8 years ago, we were talking about putting together basically a concert tour, or more like a festival tour. We wanted to turn a grassroots political movement into something that was more cultural, like a cool place to hang out, a place to get some sort of like emotional support from like-minded people. And we had a really hard time finding musicians that were willing to come out of the closet and admit that they were
hard.
Conservatives or libertarians or anything other than.
It's really hard, Matt. And I don't mean like I struggle with it on a daily basis or something. It's just that I think that there's this pervading mentality that either one, we're supposed to be neutral because, and I do agree to the extent that, our Creator gave us these gifts for everyone to enjoy and experience. But on the other hand, I feel like it's like if you're not neutral and not saying anything, keeping your mouth shut, unless you are subscribing and promoting what things like that are happening today, and with cancel culture and that whole kind of woke thing, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're not promoting those types of ideas or in support of them wholesale, that you're instantly branded this or that and the other thing. And I don't think that's fair because there's no proof of any of that, at least in a lot of the cases that I see or myself. I've been promoting blues music and black artists and culture who are my heroes and inspiration. I've been doing that since it wasn't cool, you know, before a lot of the stuff that's happening is happening. You know, back in college, my college days, I wrote a music column for the school newspaper at Canisius, and I always was like, really like, hey, you got to listen to these guys. You got to listen to Otis Rush and Magic Sam and Buddy Guy and B.B. King and Freddie King and Albert King, and then everybody that subsequently was influenced by them, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton. I mean, all the torchbearers all the way on through the present, and that includes, you know, the Eric Galeses and Joe Bonamassas and the Derek Truxes of the world who are out there just, you know, doing the same thing. You know, I think that's a great way and a great tool of bringing people together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because music, I mean, it's been happening since, you know, look how pioneering Frank Sinatra was with that. Even Marilyn Monroe, when she got Dinah Washington that gig, and said, I'm not coming to your club unless she's playing here. Yeah. You know, B.B. King pulling up on the tour bus at a gas station somewhere in, I think it was in the Southwest or something, where they were like, no, we're not gonna serve you gas. And he said, well, or either we let them use the facilities or something. It's in the movie that's on Hulu, and he just basically put his foot down. And amazing that he did it. Yeah. And he said, well, we don't buy any gas then. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, like, and there's a lesson there about people sticking their necks out, and I recently discovered this great quote from Jimi Hendrix when I think it was a Rolling Stone interview where the reporter wanted him to be more political, and he said, I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm going to speak with this, and he lifts up his guitar. And I sort of respect that. I'm sort of schizophrenic about this because a lot of my favorite musicians are apolitical because I go to a concert to put that stuff aside. But at the same time, and I think I've told you this story, one of my favorite bands is Rush. Yeah. And I got into libertarianism because that Rush album was dedicated to the genius of Vine.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, in fact,
so what do you do? Like it, and today, I think we've crossed the Rubicon because I think it's perfectly okay for woke musicians to be in your face all the time. So if that's the standard, it should be that standard for everybody, not just people of one political perspective.
Right, right. Speech, expression. And getting back to what you were saying about talking with this, I think that's something a lot of people, more people should try and do, because doing it through the internet, commenting on Facebook and social media, a lot of times the meaning gets lost. Yeah. And it increases the divisiveness in the world. And I also feel like we should be interfacing less with artificial intelligence and more with natural intelligence. Yeah. Engaging with each other, really kind of getting that sixth sense, that feel for other people, compassion, just their presence, their energy, engaging with them, connecting with them, and observing the natural world. I mean, it's just, to me, I think it's all wonderful. I love I'm on the phone a lot, you know, especially in my business. I use social media to promote my music. I'd probably be a much more private person if it wasn't the case that I was a musician. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the reality today that you have to be an influencer to get people to discover your music. That's an upside, right? You don't necessarily, you're not as dependent on the record industrial complex to decide whether or not you get to play music. True. And while I do engage, I don't do it a lot. And maybe I should do it more by statistics or, you know, analytics. But I don't want people to get used to that. Right. Because as a result of this whole experience with COVID, all the live streaming, you know, here's my PayPal, here's my Venmo. There was a lot of that going around. But it wasn't like they were pro-quality performances. Yeah. There was stuff that people were giving away for free prior to that. Yeah. And now it was like, I'm out of work, pay me. And I didn't really want to go there.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that. I put out some videos. I did some things with you and some other people, some interviews and stuff. But again, don't get used to that. We cannot depart from the organic experience and just make this like a virtual type of thing. I don't agree with that.
This is why, and I've made videos about this too. I'm also a Deadhead. I love the Grateful Dead, and the Dead couldn't be more different than Rush in terms of the style of music they play. But the thing I always loved about it was the community and the feeling you get being with a bunch of people and you love one thing in common, and maybe every other thing about you is totally different. I'm guessing that not everybody in a Grateful Dead concert shares my particular politics, but that humanity and that inability to connect with people via, you see it on Facebook and Twitter, like people just are hating on each other because it's not human. You're not talking to another person, you're talking to a machine.
Right. And the other thing about social media is in the entry bar for whatever you're going to post, it says, what's on your mind?
Yeah.
Now, think about that. When I first started with this Facebook thing, I didn't know what it was. And I was just kind of an observer. And I was like, look at this. People are talking. They're actually divulging these things that, you wouldn't think about divulging. And then they're starting, to talk about this and that, get catty with each other, nasty. And then you get involved in it. It's like an avalanche. Think about what artificial intelligence knows about us now. If anybody's worried about it, because you hear Elon Musk talking about it and other people like on Joe Rogan show, if anybody's worried about artificial intelligence, think twice about letting it know what you're thinking.
Yeah. So we got to get back to live music. I think I only exaggerate slightly in believing that gathering again is the only thing that brings America back together. And I think the lockdowns have been incredibly cancerous to that end. Like we seem to be more pissed off at each other than ever. But things seem to be opening up a little bit.
Thank God for Florida. We're going. Yeah. We're going to do our release tour down in Florida and at the end of May. Got a bunch of dates down there. I hope we get to see you and Terry.
Yeah, Terry and I are going to be down for the Bradenton and Venice shows, which is our old stomping grounds. You have to travel all the way to the free state of Florida. And give us those dates, because we're gonna publish this before you actually go live.
May 26th at Englewoods on Dearborn in Englewood, Florida. Great place, home of the blues there. Our release date, 5/28. We're going to be at the Cottonmouth Soul Kitchen in Bradenton. Really, really cool place, more of an intimate vibe, but we're going to rock it. And then 29th at an epic American Roadhouse, the Buckingham Blues Bar in Fort Myers. The 30th is going to be in Sebastian, Florida at another unbelievable place called Earl's Hideaway. We're going to be there with my friend Albert Castilla, who has a really beautiful story and album that he just won a Blues Music Award for. We're going to be doing a co-bill with him. And then the next day we're doing two. We're going to be doing the Myakka River Blues Festival from 1 till 2:30. That's in Venice. And then we're driving a couple hours and we'll go to Boca Raton and play at one of the greatest live music venues in the world. It's called the Funky Biscuit. And that'll conclude our Florida tour.
That's very that's a packed schedule, first of all. But
thank God I'm doing some stuff now, because we're doing some smaller shows. I'm even playing to tracks now because I was thinking ahead to the restrictions and the occupancy and safety concerns. So I had the guys in Nashville make me up some backing tracks. It's not technically karaoke if it's your song, right?
Yeah.
If it's your music and your performance. So I've been doing some things like that, playing with the band. We played here at the Strand Theater, which has been unbelievable for us to have access to. This is a great place.
I miss shows in venues like this.
Yeah.
This is where you want to see live music. Is Florida completely wide open now? Like, are there any restrictions on musical events?
I think not from the government end. I don't know if the municipalities have that flexibility.
Yeah.
But I think they're basically leaving it up to private property owners, and that's also the fine print. It's like, okay, the government's saying, okay, we're going to take our hands off. It's not us. We're not the one, putting the screws to you. It's the private business owners. But yet the private business owners are the ones that are doing this because they feel they have some kind of legal liability if through contract tracing or something like that occurs, that they could lose what they built their whole life for.
Yeah. And if, I just read a report today, really based on some data that Cuomo released, I think it was last May, like a year ago. And he was baffled by the fact that people that were sheltering in place were more likely to get sick, significantly more likely to get sick than people that were out, including emergency healthcare workers and all that.
Yeah.
And it turns out that if we had let private businesses figure out how to mitigate this from the bottom up at a local level with local knowledge and an understanding of what people needed, we would have been a lot better off. But today, like, private businesses don't really get to choose and make those decisions, even though it's nominally their decision. So it's a dilemma.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's all going to play out, but we're hopeful that that we are at least respected and dignified with making a lot of these choices ourselves.
Yeah,
I think that's important, because I think that's the essence of what our country and our government and democracy is supposed to be.
yeah. And that's how it always was until this horrible experiment.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the music. We just finished this video today. Are we going to have it done before the 28th, guys? No. Sam's taking a nap. He's that tired. Okay, we're getting marginal commitment from
Marginal
these guys.
commitment?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Depends on when he wakes up.
Yeah. We worked him too hard today.
What an amazing day and shoot. And we got to give a shout out to Ashley Mack.
Yeah.
Rock star.
X-ray girl.
The X-ray girl. I mean, we were in, I think 45 was a very generous estimate as to what we were facing with the temperature today. It was, I think, low 40s, especially earlier in the morning. And then with that wind coming off of the lake and the Buffalo River system, I think we were well into the 30s, especially her. She's in that gorgeous red dress.
Yeah.
That's it. And she was out there, taking direction like a pro.
Well, it was snowing, so it was definitely not 45 somewhere.
Right. Yeah. It was at least 32 somewhere, right?
So tell us how we get our personal copy of Plug In and Play by Tommy Z.
About 4 or 5 different options. The best one, direct from the artist. You can get the highest quality MP3s from me at 320 kilobits per second through TommyZBand.com/shop. You can get the CD there. You can get the other CDs. You can get the T-shirts. But if you're an iTunes user, Apple Music, you can download it and pre-order it right now and get an instant grat track of Tommy Guns, which is the song that I co-wrote with Tom Hambridge and Richard Fleming. And then you can also get it at Amazon. You can get the CDs there. I think you can get up to probably quantities of 3 or 4 at a time if you want to get them for your whole family or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And Spotify's got a pre-save on it right now, but those are the big ones right now. My website's iTunes and Amazon.
And release day is May 28th.
May 28th.
And the goal here is to get as many people to buy as many CDs as possible so that you can kill it on the Billboard charts.
Well, I mean, it's really about getting the music into the ears and hearts and minds of the most people as possible, because it's something that we all believe in. We wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't believe in it and believe in each other and our message. But yeah, that's part of the business. Business people look at charts, they look at touring history, they look at tickets sold, and things like that. So if you can help us out, that'd be awesome.
You that spiritual piece of music. I think there's something inherently connected between individual liberty and music. And I noticed a trend when we did this deep dive on various horrible experiments in socialism, the Soviet Union, North Korea, Cuba, Yugoslavia. The thing that I discovered that I didn't really appreciate before is that they always banned music. They always went after artists. They always went after poets and actors first, because that creative side of our brain is the free side. And there's got to be something about music and freedom that go together.
Yeah. You know who just said that recently was, I saw a quote. I don't think he said it recently, but Stevie Ray Vaughan's big brother, Jimmy.
Yeah.
He said the music has always represented freedom to him. And I couldn't agree more, because, I feel blessed to have been able to take this journey and to play music, but not only that, but choose what kind of music I play, what songs that I play. I don't feel like beholden, or I have to play Brick House or some top 40 thing. Because not to knock anybody that's doing it, I think that the whole tribute phenomenon is kind of dangerous, because how much music is being added to the repertoire, for the future. I mean, we've got, big catalogs of great songs. You've got Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and all this great music, but how much of that is being added to, because people are focusing a lot of their time doing cover tunes and tributes. So I would just encourage people, to carve out your own niche. Talk about yourself or something you know about, or someone you know about. Tell your story, and it'll take you on this path. That's how you and I met.
Yeah.
I mean, how many blues musicians, are talking like we're talking,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's a great way. Take us out of here. You got one more song for us?
One more song? Well, let's party.
Okay.
Let's do Going to a Party, because this is the song that is how we met.
Yeah, you played that song that day.
This we could use some audience participation on. So when I say, tell me where's the party, you guys shout back,
Where's the party? Where's
Kibbe on
party?
Kibbe on Liberty.
Kibbe or Blaze TV.
Blaze TV.
All right. Tell me where is the party?
Blaze TV.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to a party, baby, won't you come along? Yeah, I'm going to a party, baby, won't you come along? We're gonna dance all night, shake it till the break of dawn. Well, I've been working real hard for the boss man, working real hard every day. I got some green in my jeans, head full of steam, gonna blow it off some way. So I'm going to a party, baby, won't you come along? We're gonna dance all night, shake it till the break of dawn. Well, I got my invitation to have a celebration, and I'm primed and I'm ready to play. My work's all done and I'm ready for some fun. So come on, baby, what do you say? Let's go to a party, baby, won't you come along? We're gonna dance all night, shake it till the break of dawn. Tell me where is the party? 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 We're gonna dance all night, shake it till the break, dance all night, until the earth is quaking, dance all night, and shake it till the break of dawn, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Where can I get more content just like that? It's a great question. You're clearly a discerning consumer of the best content. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. And if you're consuming podcasts, go to Apple, Stitcher, anywhere you get them. I'm in. Kibbe on Liberty, honest conversations with interesting people.